welcome everybody back to a long overdue episode, as I may say. But anyway, we are here to bring you lots of love and hugs and smooches and chocolates and
gore.
Just to be fair, yes, and gore. What are we giving you our heart out into everything? Anyway, to put it even more into speculations of this is we have some lovely people to talk with what we are going to be talking about, if we even have anything nice to say. But anyway, before we get into that, I'm Paul Dolsky, and I'm joined with
Tessa Baker.
And we got the Mr. Man from all the way from Brooklyn. We got, who is this?
Who? I'm not from me. I'm from the Bronx. This is Ken
Bronx,
R2s.
Oh, that's a slap in the face.
I will take that. Brooklyn, Bronx,
There is a difference.
I forgot which one was which. My bad. Anyway, as you probably just heard, is you might have remembered her from way back in the day, and then she took a break with us. Let's just put it that way. And now we would like to make the return of none other than
the Beanie Queen, the Mistress of the Crypt, Christelle Lobello.
Also known as the person that got away last time because he was waiting for February 15th, which is tomorrow by the time you listen to this episode, because of the 50% off chocolates.
That's right.
And unfortunately, Ken's not going to get the joke, but I hope we all can remember this old joke. And that is, you guys got to realize one thing, right? Valentine's Day didn't go on Tuesday, which unfortunately means we got not the luckiest day of the year, and we were unfortunately not able to land on the Torture the Nipples Tuesday.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
However, though, I hope we all have the breakaway jeans and stuff like from last few years ago. But anyway, that's enough of that. But anyway,
Sweatpants, the fucking pants.
Anyway, and we're not talking. You know what? This screw this. We're not going to try to do what we did last time. We're not going to do a repeat. Anyway, so we're here to talk about My Bloody Valentine, the 3D, which came out in 2009. Everybody had the famous line of "really." So in this case, we got the "really" again when it comes to this. And we got Jensen Jackos from Supernatural, and I probably already butchered his last name, but whatever. This has been an interesting week as it is. And then watching this oh my God. Watching this movie last night has really fucked my brain of realizing what I'm trying to talk about. And I went back to listen to the old episode that we did, and it's very now interesting of why I prefer the 1981 version over this, I don't even know, dumpster fire of a remake, I guess. So, since it's been a hot minute, as we would used to call it. So, Crystal, what are your thoughts on going into this conversation of My Bloody Valentine 3D?
I'm mad that I wasted $3.99 on writing this film. Because it's just as shitty as I remember when I was 19. It has, my opinion on this movie has not changed whatsoever.
And there you have it, ladies and gents.
Ken,
I think we summed up the podcast in that sentence. Okay, thank you.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Oh my gosh, that's the good one. Wow. How can we top that one?
Ken, what do you think of this one?
Well, before the podcast began, Paul, I made a statement. I said we have to at least give credit to the film. At least it was rated R. How many horror movies in the past 10 years have been PG-13? That's not horror anymore. That's just, I don't know.
Trying to make a buck?
Yeah, you're stripping down the horror content to general audiences. It's not going to work to attract kids. What is it? Come on, let's at least give credit to My Bloody Valentine remake. At least it was rated R.
That's true.
Yeah, and for good
I'll give
reason
it that.
too.
That's true.
I mean, you have like the titties and the whole frontal of that lady, so I mean, you got to kind of rated R.
Yeah,
The kiddos.
Irene. Yeah, walking out of the hotel room, bucket ass naked on a pair of hooker heels with a gun.
Hey, she made.
Hey, she had a boss
Yeah,
bitch moment right there.
business.
Okay, I couldn't do that.
She's like, well, fuck this. I'm not even gonna bother with clothes.
You're not gonna put me on Pornhub for free.
I know, right?
Oh man,
And how about her death scene though? Oof.
the most famous. Well, one of the most famous ones ever.
I felt more bad for the freaking hotel manager lady that was looking for her dog.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I'm like, she's just walking in trying to find her dog, and yeah.
Next thing you know, she's hanging up and on the ceiling like she's dangling from like a chandelier or something. I don't even know.
Crystal pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Like, it's pretty much like most of it is like, oh, let's just throw this up on Pornhub kind of material for the most part. It's not even like a film that you could even like get into. Even with, you know, Dean from Supernatural being in it, still it's like, oh God, no. It didn't help it.
Well, that's like Crystal and I were talking to before this, and Crystal was mentioning how Sam from Supernatural, because right now his real name is swooping through my brain, but anyway, how he did a better job in the Friday the 13th remake than Dean did with My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Yeah.
Which, Ken, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the Friday the 13th, his acting in there was way much better, and I don't know. I have a hate love relate without digressing from this. What would we call this, a film? No, no, it's not a film. But it's a love hate relationship with Friday the 13th remake. It was good and it had its moments, but yes, I agree. He was a better actor, a better protagonist in that film than My Bloody Valentine, his counterpart.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to even go with this movie because, okay, so did anybody think any of the kills in this 3D film was actually like cool? I mean, I will at least admit that I like the little Easter egg that they did with the original, where they put the lady inside of the laundry again. But the only difference though is that the 1981 film did it so much more better, because that actually, as we kind of mentioned back in the original episode of My Bloody Valentine for the 1981 film, is that poor lady looked like she'd been in there for maybe 12 or 24 hours, and like
she looked like a life-size melted Barbie doll.
Exactly.
There's no other way that I could possibly put that.
I mean, I'm a sucker for practical effects, and I'll always go with the original because that's all they had back in the day was practical effects. This one, all the kills, and I get it, it was supposed to be, CGI, 3D. All the kills look so fake that it's just like the guy, the pickaxe to the eye, and the eye shoots out. I'm like, if not being in 3D and watching it, it takes away. I mean, even the movie was shitty when it first came out, but it takes away even more of the immersion in any of the kills, because it's like the blood splatters are coming straight at you. I'm like, look at that, that's some great graphics right there. I mean, I couldn't get into any of the kills because I guess the best one.
Practical effects.
Yeah, the best kill was probably the hotel lady when she got cooked in the jaw and electrocuted into the light. Probably the best kill in my opinion.
And now we touch on the practical effects real quick, and I'm just gonna say it like this: I think most of their fucking budget in this film went to the goddamn 3D thing, right?
Yes.
Because and that's why like I find this movie to be so much lacking when it comes to like the practical effects when it comes to the killing, because like let's all remember the original for a minute. Like let's all not just remember the amazing laundromat one where, as Tessa put it, like a melted Barbie doll, but let's all remember the unrated version where we saw what's her face get hung up in the shower room. You know, like that was amazing. Or as Tessa called it in the episode, those two that got drilled and not in a good way.
Any guy getting drilled is a bad thing.
Yeah. I will definitely say that the original with the practical effects and everything definitely outweighs the remake with the 3D. The 3D and the CGI for this film, like, it just kills it.
Oh,
I mean, there's even stuff like, I mean, we were watching it, my little brother watched it with me, and we were talking about how even at some points the pickaxe looks fake when they like zoom in on the pickaxe. It looks pretty much like something you could get at Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
Tree limb that goes through the Jeep. Like, yeah, I know that's supposed to be in 3D, but that tree limb looks so fake and plastic. I'm like, they really did not have, they didn't use their budget correctly, because this is god awful looking. It doesn't look real.
No,
I don't know what they were going for with the 3D, because during that time, I don't recall 3D coming back, was it?
That's when
What
3D was actually starting, like, in
yeah,
like
started to come
IMAX
back?
theaters and stuff. Yeah,
peak.
like,
Yeah, that was the peak of it.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job with that, because
No.
we could even compare this 3D material to Friday the 13th 3D, and it's just night and day. And you're talking about a huge gap of years, and even the Friday the 13th 3D looks way better than this one in terms of quality, and that's saying a lot.
Jaws 3D looks better in quality than this one did, in my opinion. And
Well,
that happened before I was even born.
yeah. Well, I will say this real quick. So the budget for the 2009 remake for 3D was 15 million, and the opening weekend brought in 21 mil, and about the whole gross that they've received in total is about $100 million. So they made their money back, but I mean, I wonder how many of those people kind of said the same thing like we are saying, like really, like this was kind of lame with the kills.
They're probably like, oh man, I shouldn't have wasted my money on a ticket to come see this.
Well,
Yeah.
the younger generation probably liked it because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, us who grew up on like the originals and stuff and go see the remake, we're like, oh, this is garbage. But you got to remember, there in that era, like 2009, they were starting to try to get the younger kids generation into horror. So a lot more flashy, a lot more gore. It was more pertaining towards them than the fans of the original.
Yeah.
Which sometimes you can't do that with horror. I mean, yeah, bring in the new generation, but you can't make it for just the new generation and shun out the old.
Yeah, you gotta tastefully make it good for both.
Yeah.
And by doing so and providing a lame quality horror film, or just like I said in the beginning, a horror film that is PG-13, you're just diluting the genre, and the younger generation will come to expect horror to be a certain way, and it's not. It's because horror has a horror has so many attributes. Yeah, gore, this comes from practical effects, not special effects. You have to have a good mixture of both in order to execute a good kill scene and execute it well. That's what makes a horror movie memorable. We could name a good memorable kill scene in any of our favorite horror movies. That's what sticks out.
That's
I agree
true.
with that.
And there wasn't anything memorable about this remake. There really wasn't, really. Except for, like Crystal said, the only really good kill was killing off the little manager lady in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I can say that good about this film is Tom Atkins. And I do kind of appreciate, I guess, that they spun it and making Tom the killer instead of Axel. Axel was the original killer in the first one. They spun it to make an Axel the good guy this time instead of Tom, and Tom the good bad guy in this one, and Axel the good guy. It's a new different spin, but that's not enough to be like, wow, this is a great freaking film. I love it. No, you changing the characters around and making a new spin on it. I mean, Sarah was the same, the love interest, but other than that, I mean, that's the only kind of cool things they had. And I mean, like I said, best part of the movie was Tom Atkins, hands down.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And what did we all think of the fact that between the original and this remake, that they kind of changed the villains around? Because if you guys remember, with the original villain was Axel, which in the remake, Axel became the police officer who became basically the dick, as I'm gonna call it. But then they made Tom be the insane guy, basically the hallucination because of what happened. What was it, like 10 years prior, basically?
Yeah, it was basically another like manifestation, for lack of better wording, of Harry.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, that's probably one of the only, besides Tom Atkins, that was probably the only good thing about it was they switched Tom and Axel's characters around. I mean, they took another spin on it, and that's about the only two redeeming qualities from that film. And the little doll. The doll did a pretty good acting part, but I mean, I'm just glad the doll didn't get killed in the film because I've been awful mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. Ken, were you going to say something, or were you just clearing your throat?
Yeah, I was just clearing my throat. Trying to find my personal good takeaway from the film is not even no, because I'm even comparing the outfits, and I prefer the original. This slight change of the outfit from the guy.
The miner, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It looks the same aesthetically, but just the older version has that vintage look to it. I don't know.
The dirty look,
yeah,
the worn look.
Yeah, it does look like the remake looks like it's a little bit too
too clean. Right.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I was upset there was no wind pants in this one as well.
Oh boy.
I mean, it's okay. We had the original, and we had a remake a couple of decades later. Why hasn't this antagonist become popular in horror culture, just like the other killers, like Jason and Freddy? What is this character lacking? What can we, if we were to have the funds to make this character stand out, what can we change?
Ooh, that's a good question, Ken.
Aesthetically, as a killer, I like him. I like how the original was, and to me, in all honesty, like, because there are fans that are a fan of the My Bloody Valentine movie, but I mean, he was one. This movie should have been like a one and done kind of film, like, and because it's like every other horror killer. I mean, you constantly pumping out movies, remakes, extra films, and I mean, this one was honestly the most realistic type killer, unless of that era, because I mean, Michael and Freddy and Jason, all them, the older school killers, all had supernatural abilities or a curse or something that made them a boogeyman. But then you had him, who was just a psychotic person. That was it. Nothing to it. He wasn't supernatural. He wasn't a demon or nothing like that. He was just a psychotic lunatic with a pickaxe. And I appreciate that. Like, if I take anything from My Bloody Valentine as him being a killer, I appreciate him because he was just a dude in a suit. That was it.
Yeah, and to touch on that with Crystal, just a little bit is we also got to remember between the original and the remake is with the original, the reason why Axel lost his shit was because his father was part of the mine team. And when he was little or whatever, for whenever it was, like 20 years prior, I think it was with the original, um, Axel ended up seeing his own father get killed by the maniac right in front of him. So that's what made him go berserk to start killing, and why he became basically the My Bloody Valentine. And I think what even makes him more believable as a psychotic individual, or psychotic individual, is the fact that, like, remember the ending of the original? He was singing that bizarre "Will you be my bloody Valentine?" and like Harry, I'm coming and with kill everybody, like that's more fucking creepy than
How they ended it.
how they ended the remake. Really, like there was nothing. In my personal take, I find the remake was very much lacking the scare factor. Yeah, they were trying too much with the gore because of the whole 3D aspect and everything else, and that's why they were trying to have, uh, in this case, Tom throw the axe, right? So that way we can get that cheap uh, axe throw because of the 3D. So that way it thinks like we're about to get struck with it. Yeah, I know. Honestly, I really don't know how much more and what else we can really talk about, because the remake just lacks so much in what the original actually offers. And as Crystal said, like after her 19-year-old self, when she first saw it, it's like, yeah, my opinion hasn't changed yet. And like just listening to the old episode, like I was saying before, and then remembering what I watched with this new remake, it's like, wow, like they really did way too much budget toward the 3D aspect rather than trying to make the kills more gruesome to satisfy people with the 3D
They
element.
didn't focus enough on the practical effects.
Oh, God,
they were
no.
more focused on the CGI and the 3D aspect to kind of, pick up the slack or up the ante, which instead, like everybody says, it just takes too much away from the film. It doesn't even look like believable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a firm believer that 3D doesn't belong in horror, in all honesty.
No.
In my opinion, it just doesn't belong, because it, like we talked about, it took away from the budget from everything else to make it pop out and all this and that. But that's not what horror is mainly about. It's about scaring, practical effects, yeah, and scaring you. Nothing about this scared you. I mean, don't be wrong, the original wasn't that scary either, but it had you a little more on edge than this one did. This one's just like, okay, whatever. He's about to kill him. Oh, she fell. The girl gets stuck behind the bed frame, and he's like, me and my little brother watching when was it Irene was stuck behind the bed frame, and he was trying to stab her. I'm like, why don't you push the bed frame off of you when he puts the pickaxe through it and push off? Knock him over. Come on now.
Yeah. Some of the, well, with the way I look at horror nowadays, and I mean, and I'm saying this with a big like nowadays, where like it seems like no matter what genre you watch, whether it's sci-fi or horror or maybe even mystery, depending on the film, it almost acts like they're trying to make it look like the people who watch it, the audience, are dumb as a rock, and that we're not going to catch on to this, even though we're already shaking our head going, you guys need to stop. That's cliche enough to try to tell us that we're dumb, even though we're not dumb.
Like, how many times can you take a theme and remake it over and over and over again into a film? People are going to
look at Halloween.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, look at Halloween.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you kill it. It's like you should have only done so many of the film and then cut it off at a good point and not just killed the shit out of it.
Oh, these puns, Tessa. That's funny.
Oh,
I picked up on these puns.
oh man.
Even with me not feeling that great, I'm still trying to push out them puns.
All right. Well,
You know what's funny though?
oh,
I
what
was just
fun?
checking out the director from this film, My
Patrick.
Bloody Valentine. Yes.
Patrick.
So looking at his history, he had a good. He was doing the Scream 2, Scream 3, Halloween. He has a lot of horror remakes, but it wasn't until like My Bloody Valentine that his career like took a nosedive. Drive Angry. Okay, Nicolas Cage. Yeah, all right. But then that's it. Like, what happened? Did My Bloody Valentine, did it do in his career? Was this film that bad?
Uh,
Yeah,
It's
because
been
he did Mimic and stuff like that, and wow.
right. It was a good track record leading up to that point, and he hasn't. What 2011 was his last film?
yeah, Apollo 18, I think, right?
Well, that's edited.
Oh, right, edited.
Yeah. What happened to him?
2019 was his last thing that he directed. It was The Purge for the TV series.
Oh, gross.
Episode
gross.
1. Episode 1.
Episode
Or
one.
the Sirens.
Yeah.
Just one episode.
And
the
then-
pilot, which
and
that
then-
doesn't count.
And then Into the Dark TV series, episode 1.
Yeah, that's Hulu, I believe. I think.
But
That sounds right to me.
it's still it's not
Yeah.
like anything substantial. It's
And the last thing he wrote besides Terminator Genesis was Trick, which is that the same Trick that I think of? Yes, it is. Oh God, that fucking movie. All right. Anyway, moving on. In all fairness, I will at least say this. I don't know why the fuck a long time ago I bought this movie to have, but I think it's just because of the fact that it was just something to watch. I mean, come on now. A physical version came with 4 3D glasses. So it was kind of fun to see other people of your friends like almost fall out of their seat because of the 3D stuff, I guess, if they are not really used to the horror aspect. But otherwise, why did I buy this movie? I don't know.
I don't know. I was gonna ask you why you bought this movie. Was it just to put it with the original or something, just to kind of have
I think it would maybe to have the comparison.
Just to have the two and have it be like a complete thing, but it's just like, ugh.
Basically say, don't watch this, and then like rub the original like I'm gonna torture its nipples. I don't know.
Very odd sometimes.
Them torture nipples.
I'm sure. Look. Can we just be fair that this episode already sounds like we're all having a limp dick? I mean, it's not as pleasurable as the first one that we ever did, and Ken wasn't even part of the pleasure a long time ago.
In like a metaphorical sense for Crystal and I, yeah, but for you guys, it's more literal.
Yeah, exactly. No offense, Ken.
You're on a roll, guy. You're on a roll.
Like I said,
closing remarks.
I think I'm done anyway. I don't know what else to say, but if I had to rate this out of a 10, I'm gonna say a 4. I'll at least give it a 4.
That's
Yeah,
too generous.
you being awfully kind.
Okay, fine, 3. I'll give it a 3.
Still too generous, bro.
I'll give it a 1.5,
Yes.
and that's generous for me.
I'll give it a 1 and a third.
I was gonna say terrible, but whatever.
Crystal, I'll give it a 1 1/3.
All right. Well, before we wrap this all up, Ken, thank you so much for joining. Crystal, it's a pleasure to talk to you again and have you hopefully back on.
Likewise.
Yeah,
For
always a
future
pleasure to talk
episodes.
to you guys.
And it's great to to discuss horror movies and stuff, and
let's talk about a good one next time, like an actual, like really good one
where
that
we can
we're
actually
just
have a
like
hard on.
where we where we're like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, Paul had a good one. I thought we were going to talk about the Resident Evil remake. I think Paul, you liked that one, right?
Right after this, if you want, I'll set up a whole new Zoom.
Hey, now I kind of liked Welcome to Raccoon City. It's better than Mia Jovovich shitty ass movies.
Thank you.
On that note, everybody, I was Paul Dolsky.
And I was Tessa Baker.
And joining us, we had Ken R2s. Ken, real quick, where can people find you if you're even doing anything? So what's going on with you anyway?
Well, DK Mag is pretty much done, but you could find me on Twitter. I'm still active there, and I'm still active on Instagram. I say I'm gonna resurrect it, but yeah, I have so many things on my palette. So, but yeah, you can still find me there on the DK Mag.
So you're having reservations about it?
Nothing.
This is a long story. I don't think we have time for this.
On that note, Crystal, what have you been up to, and where can people find you and all that stuff?
I'm still on the gamer grind. You guys can catch me on Twitter at Cristilla Games, or you can catch me on Twitch at Cristilla_Labello. Come watch play spoopy games.
Yes. And hopefully your Valentine's Day isn't as wimpy as all of us had talking about this goddamn movie. Anyway, until next time, keep your eyes peeled. Keep your engine on, because you just never know when you have to jump into your damn car to run away from assholes and run them over. And hopefully they don't throw a mining axe at you. Bye-bye, everybody, and stay scary.